Welcome back to the program once again. My name is Jeff, otherwise known as Litecoin Leader, and I'm going to try and speak nice and slowly because I have to remember that you're watching one video at a time. I'm recording several at a time, but I got to slow down so you can follow along with me. And some people watch it at accelerated speed, and sometimes I talk too fast as if I'm on those speeds anyway. So I'm going to slow down with this one, and I'm going to explain another law that recently came up, and I realized I talked so much in the last one that I didn't even get to half what I wanted to say. So I have to do a part two. But let's try and get all this into the one video, and we're going to cover Metcalfe's law, which is very important. And I'm going to refer back to this video several times. So let's see if I can do this justice. So before I get into Metcalfe's law, what it is, why it's relevant to so many things right now, I'm going to explain it as well in detail and give some examples. But before I do, please, if you like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below, send it to someone, share it out there. Really helps out the channel, helps me to get out there as well. But let me dive right into Metcalfe's law and why I believe it's so important. So let me share my screen. I'm going to read all three paragraphs so I remember to come back to cover everything and then come back to what I wanted to say about everything. So here we go. So it's nice and big here. This is actually from LinkedIn. So I know I got a lot of notifications at the top. Ignore those. Metcalfe's law states that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of connected users or devices in the network. Hang with me. I'll come back to that. Okay. In simpler terms, the more people or devices that are connected to a network, the more valuable that network becomes. Now, they give a very good example. To better understand the significance of Metcalfe's law, let's consider a classic example of the telephone. When the telephone was first invented, it had limited value since only a few people had access to it. However, as more and more individuals acquired telephones and joined the network, the value of the telephone system increased dramatically. The ability to connect with a larger number of people made the telephone exponentially more useful and desirable. Each additional user added value not only for themselves, but also for every other user already in the network. That's important to remember. This exponential growth in value applies not only to communication networks, but also to various other types of networks, including social media platforms, online marketplaces, and even the internet itself. The internet, for instance, demonstrates the immense power of Metcalfe's law. As more individuals and organizations joined the internet, its value skyrocketed. Today, the internet is an indispensable tool that has transformed almost every aspect of our lives, thanks in large part to the network effects it has generated. Last one I'll read to you is another example of Metcalfe's law in action is social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. I'm surprised they didn't use LinkedIn. The value of these platforms is derived from the number of users who actively engage with them. The more people using these platforms, the more valuable they become. Each additional user brings new connections, information, and opportunities, amplifying the overall value for all participants. This is why social media companies invest substantial resources to attract and retain users, knowing that the value of their platforms is directly tied to the number of users that they have. So let me jump out of that, come back to you, and just talk to you about Metcalfe's law and why I think it's so important, why it's so applicable to cryptocurrency. First off, internet, it's a great example. I mean, you can have the example of every industrial revolution or every modern invention. You have the telephone, you have, the printing press is a great one too. But also the automobile, the car itself. Like the more and more cars that get out there, the more streets got paved, the more gas stations popped up. It just now the car is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Everyone seems to have a car unless, you'll own nothing and you'll like it. But we won't go there on this video for now. But you get the idea. The more people that use a network or a device, the more valuable that device or network becomes. So again, go look at all platforms. You can go before the internet and you could just say the telephone networks. But now, then you had pagers and the Blackberries. Then you got on the internet, and then it became who was on what platform. Like you had all these different search engines, but who used Yahoo, who used Google, who used Ask Jeeves, just what browsers did you use? All those things mattered, and those led to larger and larger network effects. And now you have these big FANG stocks. You have Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, all these major players. Like Amazon pushed out Barnes & Noble because of the number of people on their network. Same thing for eBay, crushing all the other online merchants. Like that matters. The number of users really, really matters. That's why Facebook got so big. That's why Instagram and TikTok and all those other platforms that are out there, Twitter has pushed out, other social platforms. You have Truth Social, you have Parler, you have all these other ones, YouTube and Rumble, all these different channels that are out there competing for your eyeballs. But the biggest thing about the network effect is that the more users, the more people that are involved, the more valuable that network itself is. Let's move this to cryptocurrency now. The more people involved in the network, the better and stronger the network becomes. The less susceptible it is to an attack as well. This is why Bitcoin is the #1 cryptocurrency out there, because it is the biggest player in the world. Every other crypto is like traded in Bitcoin, unless it's Ethereum, but you get the idea. Like the two biggest cryptocurrencies are large and dominant because of their network. So when you look at altcoins, which I'm going to be talking about in subsequent videos and talking about that, it all comes down to the network effect, and it really matters. Like, you may laugh at meme coins or Shiba Inu, or you may not be part of the XRP community, but the XRP army is real. The SHIB army is real. There are lots of people that are behind these particular projects. And because of that, because every person that's a proponent of XRP or proponent of pick a coin, Cardano, Polkadot, Litecoin, Ethereum, all these different projects that are out there, the larger the community, the larger the backing there is of it. And that gets reflected in the transactions, the use of the network, the utility of the network, and things like how big is their DeFi platform? How big is their market cap? And all that goes back to the network effect. So Metcalfe's law applies to cryptocurrency because the more users, the more people that are involved, the more likely that there are going to be people that you can buy and sell with, buy and trade with. And you could find, it's a lot easier to find someone that you can pay in exchange for goods and services with Bitcoin than it is for, say, Digibyte. I mean, Digibyte has a big community. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good project, but it's not in the top 100 for a reason. And there's not as many people clearly that use Digibyte as uses Bitcoin. Now, could you find that? I mean, I know of projects like, I think it's, I know in Indonesia, they are using, I'm trying to remember the coin. If you can remember before I do, please put it in the comments. It's an ISO 2022 coin. And it's slipping. I got it. It's an Algorand. Algorand is the platform that they're using. So in Indonesia, they're using Algorand for currency. Now, in that area, like what I mentioned with Gresham's law in the other video, I'll post the link up here. But in Indonesia, you can use Algorand for currency and barter and paying people for goods and services with Algorand. Outside of Indonesia, the further you get away from Indonesia, the less likely you're going to be able to find someone that was willing to trade or get paid in Algorand for some good or services. So the bigger the network, the more impactful, and that gets reflected, I believe, in the market cap and the trading power of that particular cryptocurrency. So it's very important to know that the network effect has so much power, and the name of that network effect is Metcalfe's law. So what are your thoughts on Metcalfe's law? Did I explain it well? Did you like the description? The link for some of the details are in the details below in the comments. But leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.